What is up, my fellow Pizza Tower lovers? A while ago, a mod for Pizza Tower, Scoutdigo, called No Promises, which attempted to add roguelite elements to Pizza Tower, got leaked and cancelled. However, they did release an 87% complete build to the public, which I played. And I did not enjoy it in the slightest. It was really grindy and took me hours to unlock floor 3. So, I made a video on it and called it the worst Pizza Tower mod because it was so unenjoyable to play. However, NP's legacy would not end there, as the devs returned to make a new version which is releasing really soon. Yeah, sorry to anyone looking for a video on the new version. We're going to be looking at the legacy version again, because I've had some time to reflect and beat this mod. So, to make this 17-hour investment worth it, I'm going to make a more in-depth review to see if this mod is not all that terrible. Firstly, we gotta talk about my previous video's main complaint of No Promises, and that is the gameplay. Scoutdigo, No Promises, is basically Pizza Tower Scoutdigo, but with a skill tree. You start off as a nerfed Peppino and must unlock a ton of upgrades that have a wide variety of buffs. There's one that makes you faster, one that increases your point multiplier, and others that unlock abilities like the grab and the break dance. To get these upgrades, you must play through levels to get Remnant. Each floor has a base Remnant amount, which can be increased with multipliers. These multipliers consist of basic stuff like finding secrets, collecting toppins, and getting the treasure, although some of these are locked away by upgrades. And, well, that's the whole gameplay loop. Play a level, unlock abilities, repeat until you unlock the final floor and fight Pizza Face. On one hand, it doesn't sound that bad. I mean, you're playing Pizza Tower, which is a peak game. Well, unfortunately, NP's first problem is that it really loves to test your patience. To beat this game, you need to unlock every floor. Problem is, these floors are expensive. 5 hours expensive. Well, at least you'll be constantly upgrading, adding more variety to spice the gameplay up, right? Well, one multiplier really loves to work against you, and that one is levels beaten. Basically, the more levels you beat without going to the skill tree thingy, the higher it gets. Therefore, you're incentivized to go through all the levels in one sitting, to earn a ton of Remnant, and then do it all again because the floor costs are really high and there is no way you're wasting your Remnant on plus 10% speed. But if you actually want to upgrade abilities, which will happen in the late game, you will probably go from 100 upgrades to 150. So I guess that sense of getting slowly used to your more powerful moveset is kinda gone. I mean, actually, we'll look at the upgrades later, but for now we are left with a very repetitive gameplay loop, one that not even Pizza Tower's peakness can save. Fortunately for us, the No Promises devs actually released a hotfix patch to the game, which aimed to make the experience better. And, I gotta say, they did a really good job with this hotfix. It does make me question why all these practically essential and game-changing hotfixes weren't in the game before though. Firstly, the base amount of points gained by beating a floor has been substantially increased, and extra multipliers have been introduced like a lucky bonus and this Remnant interest one, which increases depending on how much leftover Remnant you have. I'm unsure of this one actually. It's a very good addition, but it also has the same effect of making you play every level without resetting, since you gain Remnant for beating levels, and if you don't spend it and keep beating levels, you will get more points. Oh well, it does make grinding way easier, so I guess for the most part, they're fine enough. Another addition is the ability to set your upgrade level for certain perks. For example, you could set speed to the tier 1 stat, while having other abilities you unlocked from upgrading speed on the skill tree. I think this is a great addition as it can add to a lot more experimenting to find your favourite moveset. Speaking of upgrades, this Remnant Refunder person is also great if you purchased an upgrade you didn't like, or if you obtained just enough Remnant for another floor, but you don't really care about having all too many perks. I really like this upgrade, but having to manually get all your upgrades again can be pretty tedious when there's like 200 of them. Anyways, the second last interesting thing is that the floor costs were decreased. Oh my goodness, it's so much cheaper now! This is actually bearable! Holy moly! I mean, look how quickly I unlocked floor 3 compared to the previous version. Wow. This mod really is just filler. However, if you thought we were done with hotfixes, there is another to cover. And one that when I found about it, I thought could be really exploited. And that is that chef tasks reset when you reset your tower progress. Yeah, chef tasks give a ton of remnant, so if you beat one level like Fun Farm, which has a ton of easy chef tasks, that remnant multiplier won't matter because you can just play that level again and again and get so much more remnant. Or maybe you could just get 2 easy chef tasks in golf, which can take under a minute and can be done in the first room with barely any upgrades. This isn't looking good for No Promises. They kinda just ruined their early game because the amount of remnant you get from chef tasks is much higher than you can get from levels. But, luckily for these devs, when you unlock Floor 4, the base points and the new multiplier upgrade you can get just manage to make this strategy useless, which is actually a good thing because the early game past the 15-minute mark is absolutely the worst part of the mod due to how limited you are and how expensive everything is. So speeding it up isn't that big of a deal, and to be honest, the mid to late game is where No Promises starts to get sorta fun. Although it was very repetitive, I did sorta kinda enjoy the 4th floor and past that. No Promises enters the realm where you start to get a ton of remnant from beating a level, and many upgrades don't have high costs, allowing you to experiment and buy tons of upgrades, which is really satisfying to do. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. They also made it so you can actually see future upgrades in the skill tree. Before, you could only see like the very next upgrade, which is really dumb because, why would I continue on this path if I don't even know what I'm working to? Another nice addition from this hotfix. I guess now that I have a lot of remnant to buy upgrades, we should talk about them. If I could summarize the upgrades of No Promises in one word, that word would be underwhelming. For a mod that adds a whole upgrade system to the game, you would expect a lot of completely new perks and abilities. But NP just doesn't do that. Like, most of the upgrades in the game are either just buffing an element like your jump height or pickup range, restoring your moves, or just making some stuff not damage you. Also, a lot, and I mean a lot of upgrades are just repeats. Some perks even have up to 10 tiers, this one has up to 15! You know their system is filler when they made war artificially harder by making the time count quicker, only to introduce 5 upgrades to alleviate the issue. Even when they throw you an occasional new upgrade, it's usually just an auto parry, or a collectible that can give you a slight multiplier boost. There's no new original moves, nor any interesting perks, which is pretty disappointing. If you ask me what my favourite upgrades would be in this game, it would be these 2. Why? Well, they actually do something inventive and cool. That's really it, that's all I got for them, they're pretty nice. It's also especially weird when Scoutdigo had these cool perks like this Mach 4 fire trail that killed enemies. Why doesn't NP have any creative ideas like that? They just don't do anything that changes the level progression either. To gain the most amount of remnant quickest, all you need to do is get a P rank, because it gives you a big multiplier and almost every other multiplier is just tied to things needed for a P rank, like secrets and treasures. It's weird, they added all these multipliers and upgrades, only to leave progression feeling exactly the same. There's nothing different to how I tackle these levels in No Promises compared to regular Scoutdigo, aside from me being super ultra overpowered Peppino, and that's a big shame. But by the way, a little off topic, Super Ultra Peppino was actually really fun to play as and surprisingly manageable to control. But the only reason why we can be Super Ultra OP Peppino is because of the NJA mod upgrades. These upgrades make MP so fun to mess around with. I mean, without them, this is the max upgrade Peppino. Yeah, not all too interesting. Thank goodness for these upgrades. Okay, back on track. Actually, I'd like to correct my previous statement. MP actually did change gameplay elements in death mode. Yeah, it's a lot harder now with clocks restoring less time, and you can lose in it, meaning, there's a reason to get upgrades aside from making the grinding less boring, because, it's also a pretty difficult mod. Did No Promises actually make a fun and challenging gameplay loop? I think they did! They did! It's actually fun! And you also missed out on a ton of multipliers as well, like treasures. And it also takes way longer to beat than a normal level. Never mind. They blew it. I am not gonna play this normally. This is post-game only stuff when I have max upgrades. That's only when it's viable, and still, you will probably die more than just playing a normal level. Okay, that aside, why are there barely any substantial upgrades? Well, actually, they are. Introducing the playable characters. Yeah, in this mod you can not only play as Peppino but not again, Gustavo and Brick, Pogo Doys, Mario? Oh, okay. And the Viggy. Oh, I don't know who this character is, but they're in the mod. A very questionable decision, as I feel like the Vigilante probably would have been the best character to give a Rogue whatever it's called system. You could upgrade his gun and dynamite or give him new weapons, plus he has a health bar so there's actually challenging levels. But no. Oh well, it's an inoffensive addition, even though I don't find them all too. They replace Gustavo on the files like, get this character out of here! These characters really feel like filler though. Aside from Mario, none of them even have custom character specific upgrades. What's the point of adding these characters if you do nothing with them? I mean, 2 of them are quite literally Peppino clones. Heck, Bizel's one difference in gameplay, to keep speed or whatever when wall jumping, is useless because on the same branch you get Bizel on, there's an upgrade that just gives that move to everyone! An upgrade which just yoinks the one original thing about a character aside from the sprites and gives it to everyone else in full. Are we serious right now, no promises? I really never played these guys. They were either too similar or just didn't really work all too well with the upgrades. Even aside from the gameplay, I also feel the gang of playable characters somewhat drag down the game's best feature. Its atmosphere. Okay, listen here. Pizza Tower, goofy game. No promises, bad mod. The atmosphere though? Holy moly, how did they do it? Bro, it's just so peak. I mean, the start and the end of this game are so good with their visuals that it gets me so hyped up to play this. It's so engaging and different from regular Pizza Tower. Funny how the progression is, and even though they added all these roguelike elements to the game, but in the end it's just a bunch of filler content that just pads the runtime. Anyways, I don't know how they did it, but I honestly cannot complain at all. You got this dreary atmosphere in Pizza Tower? It's so peak, man. Also, I'm pretty sure the music isn't original, but holy moly, they got some good picks here. That part where you're going up to his domain is actually epic. Also, you gotta love the purpley gradients on this mod. The color choices were on point, man. 11 out of 10 atmosphere. I love it to death. I mean, it's just so like desolate and stuff, especially with like Peppino losing all his abilities to Pizza Face, and then he has to work his way up again, and he even becomes more powerful as well. It's just so good, man. And then you restore the tower and it's back to classic goofy dialogue and stuff, and there's also all these other playable characters in the ending for some reason. I'll just let this slide. I mean, you gotta remember, this mod wasn't fully finished, and I'm sure the graphics was probably one of the later aspects of the mod to be worked on, because as you can see, the final boss's custom graphics aren't finished. Speaking of, let's list another reason why the upgrade system is bad. The final boss is a pretty difficult challenge. You gotta beat every level, which takes forever, but Pizza Face can kill you. Also, after you lose, you now have to grind more because you have to buy all these upgrades which give you more HP. Or do you? Because, and get this, it's actually easier to beat Pizza Face with minimal upgrades. You see, as Super OP Peppino, you go pretty fast and are pretty uncontrollable if you don't know what you're doing. You may think this makes it easy to avoid Pizza Face, but he speeds up when you do, so I mean it isn't really all that better. But, what if you didn't speed up? If you only purchase the minimum upgrades to give you the grab and Mach 4, you are just slow enough that Pizza Face doesn't speed up 99% of the time, so you can avoid him easily. It definitely doesn't make it that much easier to escape him, but it's easier to control, so technically it does. Plus, you can then spend all the leftover remnant on buying those extra HP upgrades. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that getting every upgrade makes the final boss a bit harder and then you have to grind more. And then playing with the normal speeds and abilities that you would have in regular Pizza Tower and Scoutdigo is actually kinda easier and takes less time to grind. You know, I find that pretty funny. By the way, I got this strat from the video that the main developer of No Promises called Pathetic. Anyone remember that? Yeah, that was really dumb. I guess now that I've covered the final boss, I should end it here. I could probably talk a bit more about the mod, like how the arenas would have been the perfect area to add rogue, whatever they're called, elements, but you know, they aren't even in the mod. I think I've talked long enough, and if I talk about every new thing or problem that I don't really like, I will probably be called an overcritical nitpicker, which, yeah, that's probably right. If you enjoy No Promises, good for you. It definitely is fun to see big numbers of Remnant and be super OP Peppino and get a lot of upgrades. but this is more of an experience that you'd periodically play a few levels of per day and slowly progress in, which just isn't my type of game. And hey, maybe the progression was bad to me because of how I played it. Maybe I picked all the wrong upgrades in a bad order. Who knows? However, to those people who commented on my video saying the hotfix fixed the mod and it's now good, I mean, you're not wrong, but you also aren't right. While it definitely made the experience just bearable enough that I could actually complete it, it still has many of the key issues that the original version has, just to a less of an extent. It doesn't really add anything new and it's just all completely filler to me. It's just like they extended Pizza Tower to make it longer. Oh well, maybe that's just me. Who knows? Make your own opinions. Anyways, I hope the new version will be good and I'll probably make a video on it if it's interesting enough and if you guys actually want one. But for now, I'll see you fellow Pizza Tower lovers later. I'll also leave you with a humble suggestion to subscribe because I would really appreciate it. We are not all too close to 2,000 subscribers, but you know, it would be nice if we could reach that sometime soon. Oh well, see you in the next video.